In the same year as Space Dandy, we got another 2014 Watanabe anime. This time, he was fully involved as a director, and that anime is Terran Renaissance.
In an alternate iteration of the present, Tokyo has been hit by a terrorist attack that has devastated the city. The only evidence of the culprits is the cryptic video uploaded to the internet, which sparks paranoia across Japan. Unbeknownst to the authorities is that the terrorist masterminds, who call themselves Sphinx, are two teenage boys who go by the names 9 and 12. Though they apparently should not exist, they nonetheless decided to wake up the world with their heinous plans of destruction, with their fingers on the trigger.
Now, even though this anime has a continuing story like Kids on the Slope did, this time around, Terra in Resonance is an original anime, not based on a manga. So it's a good chance to see what Watanabe can do with an original anime project that isn't an anthology type one.
It relies more on story than characters, so that doesn't mean that the characters aren't well developed. Helped by the fact that in Terra in Renaissance, there is so much sentimentalism up in this bitch. The anime excels in the empathy that it gives its cast of characters. I especially like Lisa, who runs away from home and her overbearing and controlling mother, and ended up getting involved with 9 and 12 in their terrorism.
Like other Watanabe anime, it's the consequences of previous actions that comes back to hurt our characters. Except this time, these characters is the entire country of Japan itself.
Since Terra in Resonance has a flowing narrative this time, each episode expands on each other and have a clear beginning, middle, and end. Though that end is a little disappointing as the ending wasn't written the best, needing 1 or 2 more episodes to make the anime more solid as a whole. But I digress. While Terra in Resonance doesn't work as well as a thriller plot, none of the events of the anime really surprised me or kept me on the edge of my seat. It does work as a compelling meditation on modern society, backed by some very impressive visuals, from a then still forming Studio Mappa, who worked with Watanabe previously on Kids on the Slope.
But let's talk about that meditation of modern society and how Watanabe uses postmodernism in Terran Renaissance. The anime fully centers on the effect of Japan's change after the bombings during World War II, the country also being completely changed due to Americans' occupation and reconstruction of Japan that took place through 1945 and 1952. Here's something that most people in this country fail to understand. Well, yes, the Japanese army did join the Nazis in the Axis army and bombed Pearl Harbor, one of the biggest acts of terrorism that our country has faced. It truly is a tragic moment in American history, one that some people won't forget. That incident pales in comparison to what America did to the entire country of Japan after Pearl Harbor. Between the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and all the constant air raids, we fucking destroyed that country, further changing it forever. You ever notice how most American movies about World War II features our strong-ass American army killing them Nazis and Japs? And that most Japanese movies are about the destruction that the country faced due to the air raids and atomic bombings that destroyed the country? That's kind of what the original Godzilla is all about. Now, look, I'm not giving the Japanese army at the time any excuses for the alliance with the Nazi army and the bombings of Pearl Harbor. I'm just trying to add a different perspective on things. A perspective that is the focal point of Terra Renaissance.
This is shown the most in the character of Shibazaki, who as a Hiroshima native, hated summer due to the fears held by the older townspeople who experienced the town's atomic bombing during World War II, as the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki happened on April 5th and 9th respectively. The sounds of cicadas in the summer being a sound that Shibazaki hates the most. In the anime, there's a continuing mystery about where 5, 9, and 12 came from, how they have such high intelligence, and why 9 and 12 are blowing up buildings and sending riddles to the police. Because they want the country, hell, the whole world, to know about the Athena project, and that the both of them will always be remembered, even after they die from an unknown disease. What is the Athena project? Well, it was part of a plan to revitalize Japanese national morale following the nation's defeat at the end of World War II. They plan to do this by raising intelligent children who have the savant syndrome, which is a condition in which someone with significant mental disabilities demonstrates certain abilities far in excess of average.
Again, you have to understand this. Japan was forever changed by the bombings of World War II, and then America's occupation and restoration in the country right after the war. The Japan before World War II and the Japan after World War II are two completely different entities.
So, the Athena Project wanted to get a leg up in the world again, to become a strong independent country like it was once before. Just like with the country of Japan facing the consequences of the bombing of Pearl Harbor with the air raids and atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the Athena Project using kids with the savant syndrome faced the consequences by Sphinx blowing up different parts of the country to make sure that the country would never forget what happened.
An interesting thing to note is that Watanabe was quite aware that a show about terrorist attacks in a contemporary metropolitan environment resonate with American audiences more than Japanese audiences. The first 2 episodes were given an exclusive premiere at Anime Expo 2014, a full week before it started airing on Japanese television.
An anime about terrorism definitely connects with the country of America more than it does in Japan in a modern viewpoint. In America, we face the threat of terrorism every day, especially after the events of 9/11. The war on terrorism is one of the biggest wars that our country participates in, and shaped my generation who went through 9/11 when we were kids, especially when you consider white people doing most of the terrorism these days, and not foreign people living in this country, despite what most people will believe. In Japan, however, things are not the same in modern times. Stuff like crime and gun violence are really low compared to what can be found in America. They have strict gun laws and have an entire country that actually likes its police force. And because of that, there aren't really any terrorist attacks that happen in Japan. Don't get me wrong, it does happen. The 2 biggest that come to mind is the Tokyo subway sarin attack of 1995 and the arson attack on Kyoto Animation in the summer of 2019. But the list of terrorist attacks that the country faces in modern times is minuscule when compared to the terrorist attacks that America faces in modern times, where it feels like a mass shooting or bombing takes place once a month or something.
But long story short, America can connect more with an anime about terrorism than Japan can, further expanding the postmodernism that Watanabe has brought to Terran Renaissance. As for the music, Terran Resonance has the most different and unique soundtrack of all the music contained in the other 5 Watanabe anime. But there's also the fact that this is the Watanabe anime that has the least to do with its music, but the music is still really fucking good.
Yoko Kanno returns for the 3rd and final time, and once again, her music is fucking fantastic. There's more foreign music than anything they have done together before. Incorporating music from countries that aren't just Japan or America, Terran Renaissance utilizes post-rock and ambient music that was influenced by the Icelandic band Sigur Rós. Sigur Rós was actually a huge influence on Watanabe when creating Terran Renaissance. He once said that, quote, "When I was listening to Sigur Rós, I got the visual image of 2 boys standing in the ruins of a destroyed city, and that led me to the idea of Terran Renaissance. We actually went to Iceland to record our music." End quote. All the background music in the anime are exceptional, especially the piece of Vaughn, which actually serves as an in-universe mystery. 9 and 12, after stealing a dangerous bomb in the first episode, write Vaughn on the factory floor. It is also the song that 9 is always listening to on his headphones. At the end of the anime, Lisa learns the meaning of Vaughn. It's Icelandic for hope.
In the end, though, Terran Renaissance wouldn't be a Watanabe that people would easily align with Watanabe like Cowboy Bebop or Samurai Champloo. It's still another great anime, and one that I really love, personally. It has a great story and characters, an okay thriller plot, a fantastic look at modernization of Japan after World War II, and a unique soundtrack of foreign origin. This anime isn't one that you would normally expect from Watanabe when looking at his other 5 main anime. But it still contains all the Watanabe tropes that you know and love. It's an anime that can touch the hearts of many people who watch it. Even if you have problems with the anime, they'll probably still find a way to resonate with your heart. And lastly is Watanabe's most recent anime, 2019's Carole and Tuesday.
Set in the future on a partially terraformed Mars, teenager Tuesday Summons runs away from her posh lifestyle as the daughter of a politician and makes her way to Alba City to pursue her dream of being a musician with just a suitcase and her Gibson acoustic guitar. On her first day in the city, she crosses paths with Carole Stanley, another aspiring musician who plays the piano, and the 2 decide to team up as a singer-songwriter duo under the name Carole and Tuesday.
In terms of Watanabe's anthology style, this one is a little different. He serves as the chief director again, but unlike with Space Dandy, this is a full Watanabe production, and in my opinion, it's the most Watanabe anime out of the 6.
Carole and Tuesday does utilize an anthology style that focuses more on characters than it does on story. The 2 this time around are a little more balanced. All episodes work to achieve one goal, much like with Samurai Champloo, for Carole and Tuesday to become a famous singing duo. At the beginning of each episode through narration, the girls' manager Gus tells us about the legendary 7 minutes, where Carole and Tuesday unite the planet of Mars for a 7-minute concert, one that would be etched into the books of history forever. And so all of the anime is building up to the 7-minute concert that is featured in the final episodes of the show. Most episodes feature Carole and Tuesday meeting different musicians, both unique and creative, especially during the Mars Brightest arc in the second half of the first season. Like Sibel, a French singer who becomes obsessed with Tuesday, Piotr is a fun and flamboyant social media star, and GGK, just deserves the world. Though the most memorable characters that Carole and Tuesday met would be Desmond, someone who suffers from Martian androgyny just like Angela's mother Dahlia, or Flora, an old lover of Gus and a character who pays tribute to the legendary Whitney Houston. Another character, Crystal, is also a Beyonce-like singer. Now there is one overarching plot that is shown throughout Carole and Tuesday, especially in its second half, and that is of Tuesday's mother running to become president of Alba City and enforce a strict immigration law to send a bunch of people back to Earth. Carole's childhood friend Ezekiel gets roped in with all these immigration laws, as well as Crystal's ex-boyfriend Skip. Tuesday's mother running for election under this platform is what ends up driving Carole and Tuesday to create the 7-minute concert to try and reach out their voices to the people of Mars to stop the strict immigration laws.
Carole and Tuesday also continues the Watanabe connected universe, previously seen in Cowboy Bebop and Space Dandy.
The entire setting of Carole and Tuesday is Alba City, a city on Mars. Alba City is also the setting of the Cowboy Bebop movie, Knocking on Heaven's Door. The currency is the same as in Cowboy Bebop, Wulong. And this is where things start to get complicated. We learn in episode 3 that Carole and Tuesday takes place 50 years since humanity's migration to Mars. In Cowboy Bebop's timeline, the lunar hyperspace gate exploded in 2021, causing Earth's residents to move underground or flee for off-world colonies throughout the solar system.
This could all still connect if the gateway accident happened in Carole and Tuesday's universe as well. But the technology in Carole and Tuesday is much more advanced than in Cowboy Bebop, including smartphones and cheap multi-purpose robots. Nothing like what was seen in Cowboy Bebop.
It also doesn't help that a robot AI helping the gang to film a music video for Carole and Tuesday is watching an anime on his phone. The anime featuring QT and Honey from Space Dandy relaxing at a pool.
Now, how do all of these shows connect to each other if the technology isn't exactly the same between Carole and Tuesday and Cowboy Bebop despite similar locations? And how do characters from Space Dandy show up in an anime in the anime? Well, some have theorized that the only way that all these series can fit together in one universe is if both Cowboy Bebop and Space Dandy are works of fiction within the world of Carole and Tuesday. This would resolve the discrepancies between technology levels, as Cowboy Bebop could be an alternate history version of present-day Mars. It would also explain the fridge with the small, slimy alien in Space Dandy that previously showed up in Cowboy Bebop. It's just a reference to the other show, plain and simple. It would also explain how all 3 anime have the same currency. Yeah, it's a pretty weak theory, but one that I love nonetheless. I just love the idea that my 3 favorite Watanabe anime connect to each other in some way. It's just a lot of fun. Now let's get into Watanabe's style of incorporating postmodernism into his anime. This time around, making Carole and Tuesday one of the most modern anime that I've seen in recent times.
The anime incorporates current American politics, as I mentioned before, with Mars's new strict immigration laws and sending people back to Earth. The dialogue that is used, a white blonde-haired president candidate running on this platform, and the aggression faced towards predominantly people of color, like Ezekiel and Skip.
This is so true to life in what's happening in America right now, especially as of this recording. It's crazy immigration laws, ICE agents kidnapping people and sending them back to where they came from. Even if they were born in America, a giant wall that separates Mexico and America, and a president that is very vocal and is predominantly about these immigration laws and against foreign people of almost all kinds, especially if they're people of color. As you've probably seen before in the various clips, Carole and Tuesday exhibits a multitude of different races, sexualities, and gender identities. Except for maybe anime like Michiko and Hachin, I don't think I've seen an anime with such a wide variety of characters of color, and not all drawn in any stereotypical or offensive ways. It's quite beautiful, actually.
It's always so rare to see characters of color in anime in the first place, but to see this many in one show is quite astonishing. Hell, the character that Carole and Tuesday look up to and see as a goddess is a woman of color. Again, very rare to see in an anime. This helps the anime feel really modern in a way that no other anime has done before. This is helped once again by the story arc surrounding the strict new immigration laws.
I was blown away by how many characters exhibit both different sexualities and gender identities. Characters both big and small. Even if the queer stuff in Carole and Tuesday are mostly surface level stuff and not touched upon all that much.
Mary, Gus's ex-wife, is bisexual, and this bisexuality is shown with complete maturity. Carole and Tuesday don't say anything when Mari kisses her girlfriend Anne in front of them, blushing because they just saw 2 attractive women kiss in front of them. I'd blush too. Mary also asking Carole and Tuesday later if they have either a boyfriend or a girlfriend, taking both genders into consideration. And Mary and Gus have a nice talk about their marriage and how it all went wrong. And though surprised at first, Gus is supportive when Mary tells him that she's getting married to another woman, hoping that this time around, her marriage with this woman won't be a disaster like their marriage was. I also really like Desmond, a singer who, unlike Dahlia, has embraced their androgyny, feeling like it's a missing part that's finally returned to them, ultimately leading them to identify as non-binary. This allows them to live a peaceful life, even after they lose their male partner due to a disease. Inspired by Carole and Tuesday's music, he invites them to their garden before the disease can take hold of them again. He sings a song for them and then slips into another coma. Thankfully though, he comes back in the final episode to participate in Carole and Tuesday's 7-minute concert.
By having a multitude of different characters with different races, sexualities, and gender identities, this just piles on how modern Carole and Tuesday is, which is all thanks to Watanabe's style of postmodernism. But the biggest thing featured in Carole and Tuesday and what makes it the most Watanabe anime is its music. Carole and Tuesday is 100% music. Music is the entire story and characters of the anime.
Almost all the characters we meet are in the music industry, and Carole and Tuesday want to break into the music scene as well. Thus, there are a lot of musical performances in all the episodes. And not just background insert songs, but the characters singing the song on screen. Whether a character is performing in front of an audience, trying to write a new song, or just singing to themselves, we are always seeing these characters sing. Hell, the Mars Brightest arc is a singing competition itself. And just like with Cowboy Bebop, all of the songs are sung in English, even in a Japanese sub. Each character has their own individual singer, and with the exception of Chabelle who sings in French, the English is really clear and all the singing is really fucking good. The main duo of Carole and Tuesday are sung by NaiBR.XX and Selena Ann, respectively. They make a super cute singing duo in promotional images and a real live concert that the two held on YouTube. While the voice actors in both Japanese sub and English dub don't always match with their races of their characters that they voice, the singers always do. Like Thundercat, who's the singing voice of Skip, and Denzel Curry is the singing voice of Zico. I don't know if there's ever been an anime that featured 2 to 3 different and unique songs sung by the characters themselves in each episode. Some of my favorites include Light a Fire, sung by Angela, Round and Laundry, sung by Carole and Tuesday in a really cute montage, and Love Yourself, sung by Piotr. The 2 episodes in the first ending theme of the anime are also sung by Carole and Tuesday, the second ending theme sung by their rival Angela. Also, the final song in the 7-minute concert, Mother, is a complete showstopper, one that exhibits almost every single character that we've seen on the show before, uniting all these characters of different races, sexualities, and gender identities to send a message of love and peace to the planet of Mars.
Speaking of real-world parallels for a second, there was actually an active Carole and Tuesday Instagram account, the same one that the characters used in the anime itself. The account would update with screenshots from the current episode with descriptions from the characters themselves. And just like with some of the episode titles in Cowboy Bebop, all of the episode titles in Carole and Tuesday are American song names, further adding to the American music influence that is all over Carole and Tuesday.
Because, ultimately, this is Watanabe's love letter to music. Love for self-made music than music created by machines. Music that comes from the heart, that comes from the singer's soul, and that can touch the hearts of people throughout the entire world. And in terms of Carole and Tuesday, throughout the entire 2 worlds.
Carole and Tuesday is Watanabe's most recent anime, and it's one that most exhibits all of his tropes and styles. It features a sort of anthology style with an occasionally overarching plot, a great use of postmodernism with exhibiting real-world events that's happening in America today, and has a great cast full of characters that features a different variety of races, sexualities, and gender identities. The anime is also Watanabe's love letter to music itself, featuring lots of amazing songs sung by this amazing cast of characters. Even though Carole and Tuesday was restricted to Netflix here in America, I really hope that people don't miss it because of that. This anime is truly one of a kind, and it's one that is my favorite anime of 2019. Alright, let's get this 3-part over an hour-long video series over with already. Through the anime of Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, Kids on the Slope, Space Dandy, Terror Renaissance, and Carole and Tuesday, Watanabe exhibits himself as a very prolific anime director. Through his classic anthology style and little touches of sentimentalism for his characters, a great use of postmodernism that most anime don't use, as well as his anime having some of the greatest soundtracks in anime history, there's a reason this guy is so beloved by critics and anime fans alike. In case you're curious, the order that I would place the 6 Watanabe anime in order, from my least favorite to my favorite. It would go Kids on the Slope, Samurai Champloo, Terror Renaissance, Carole and Tuesday, Space Dandy, and Cowboy Bebop. That's of course my personal list, and I'm sure that other people's lists would be drastically different. And that's the thing about Watanabe anime. Even though he uses the same 3 styles for each of his anime, the 6 of them are very different from each other, that they'll each hit someone in a different and unique way. Shinichiro Watanabe is one of the most critically regarded directors working in the anime industry. His anime is hard to be matched by others, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Here's to hoping that he continues to give us some creative, unique anime in the near future.